hell did I get hooked on this damn show?
Password accepted.
Hey guys, it's your girl Cameron and I'm back at it again with another video. And today we are going to be talking about and reviewing Cruel Summer, which ended a few weeks ago, but it was a lot to process. It was a lot of stuff going on. I wanted to give you guys my opinion, my overall roundup. I'm going to give a quick synopsis, but spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the show yet or you're not finished with it, don't watch this video, or better yet, bookmark it, save it to your watch laters, and watch it after you finish the series, because I'm probably going to be reviewing some of the most shocking, most important parts of the show. So without further ado, please like, comment down below, what did you think of Cruel Summer? And hit that subscribe button down below if you want to see more content like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. And without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. Let's go. Cruel Summer, just a quick synopsis, is about basically the two main characters, Kate Wallace and Jeanette Turner. And it's a mystery because Kate Wallace goes missing. Jeanette Turner, who was the nerd, becomes popular and kind of takes over Kate Wallace's life. She takes her boyfriend, her friends, the whole nine. So it looks really shady, and basically the whole time is alluding to the fact that Jeanette knew something, because once Kate Wallace is found, she gets on national TV and is like, Jeanette Turner, you saw me, but you didn't do anything. So basically slandered her name. Nothing that Jeanette could get arrested for or anything, because Jeanette did not kidnap her, but definitely is slander. So Jeanette Turner turns around, kind of finds her voice back, and decides to sue Kate Wallace for slander, because Jeanette swears, like, I didn't see you. So basically the whole series is this loop of us trying to figure out who's lying, who's telling the truth. Are both of them telling the truth? Are both of them telling two versions of the same story? What's going on? So first, we can kind of go through each character. Another important note about this show is it takes place with 3 different years. It took place in 93, 94, 95. But this is one thing I will say about the show is I was immediately hooked after watching the first episode. And I feel like we don't have many shows that give like that Pretty Little Liar-esque mystery. And I really liked how this was a new mystery show, a new take on a mystery. And yeah, it was done very originally. So the show kind of goes between 93, 94, and 95. And they do this in a way that makes it somewhat confusing to keep up with the timeline, but they do it enough to where they change how the characters look well enough. They change the lighting, so you can kind of easily begin to tell which year we're at. But it does add to the mystery, because in your brain, you're like trying to keep up with what year it is, what's going on, what's happening. But it adds an extra layer and makes things a lot more complicated, which was smart on the part of the writers. So we're going to start off with Kate Wallace. So Kate Wallace is the it girl at school. She's popular. From what we can understand, you know, people just might not like her. It's like people want to be like her. It's not as much that people don't like her. Her mom has a lot of social status. Her stepdad was once an athlete, like he's famous in the town, they're rich, they have a lot of money. However, what a lot of people didn't know was that at home she was having some family issues. Her mom was cheating on her dad, and that kind of was the impetus of her running away. And her mom had a very strained relationship, which was kind of the reason why she left in the first place. 94, Kate Wallace gets kidnapped. See, this is confusing. And we are given the information that she was kidnapped by the new assistant principal who moved into the neighborhood. We just don't know how that happens. The big mystery with Kate is we think that she was like abducted, basically. Now we start getting clues that she might have been groomed, or she might have wanted to be there, or she went back several times or had a relationship with him. But at first, it was not clear whatsoever. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, you know, she might have been reeled in and just put in the basement. However, we learn later that that wasn't the case. But we'll get there. So Kate Wallace, to be honest with you, I think I was more on her side. A lot of movie and TV tropes automatically tries to pitch you against the popular mean or the pretty girl, and to assume that they're mean. But to be honest, I just didn't get that from Kate. I just felt like she was popular. She was pretty. You know, whatever happened to her, I don't think she deserved. Now, she was out of pocket for naming Jeanette Turner as the person to see her on national TV. Like, that's slander. You can easily get sued for that. But at that time, we didn't fully know the truth. So next, the second main character is Jeanette Turner. She's a weirdo. I definitely felt for her. Definitely did. But overall, I just felt like she was odd. So in 93, we see they open up the show. She has her braces, her glasses. She's kind of nerdy. You know, a really innocent teenager. As so we think, innocent. But Jeanette goes through this transformation throughout those 3 years. And it's very obvious, like by 94, when Kate goes missing, you see that Jeanette, you know, she ditches the glasses, her hair is straight. And one of the weirdest parts is the fact that she befriends all of Kate's best friends. She starts dating Kate's boyfriend, Jamie, which we will talk about briefly. And it is a little bit, actually not a little bit, it's very weird.
We need to get to the bottom of this, and we need to get to the bottom fast.
So it kind of makes sense, this connection between, oh, maybe Jeanette does have something to do with it, because she was a little too hype. A little too geek to take her place. Now, here's one thing. In 1993, Jeanette and her friends made a list of things that they wanted to do that was illegal, or just like a summer list to be bad.
What are you guys doing? Getting into trouble!
And so one of those things was to break into someone's house, but her dad was like a real estate agent, so he sells houses. She ended up going to his office, stealing the keys to one of his buyers' houses, and she steals the key. They sneak in, and lo and behold, it is the new assistant principal that moved in. And this is the assistant principal that will then seemingly kidnap Kate Wallace. And so in 93, this is before Kate was even abducted, Jeanette and her friends were actually in the house. So Jeanette actually kept this key forever, for a very long time. And so it became really suspicious because as viewers, we didn't know her involvement fully. All we know is she kept this key, and there were a few times that she did go back because she's a weirdo.
He was weird.
She's weird. She never had a relationship with the assistant principal, thank God, but it was just weird. Like when he would leave, she would want to go in there. Weird. But we do learn that Kate was keeping secrets too. Next, we're going to move to the next character. The other ones we're going to kind of just go through briefly. So we have Jamie Henson, who is initially Kate Wallace's boyfriend. He's a weirdo too.
You deserve this.
He ends up dating Jeanette Turner not long after his girlfriend goes missing. And that's my thing. I'm not just trying to put it on Jeanette, but you know, her friends are very much at fault as well. But when he finds out that Kate is still alive, and he watched the interview of Kate saying, Jeanette, you saw me, Jamie basically like punches Jeanette in the eye. He socks the mess out of her. And I was like, regardless, that was way too far. Have a girlfriend, she goes missing, and you kind of just don't care. And you start dating the girl who's clearly, obviously, kind of like taking over her life. And that's one thing I forgot to mention about Jeanette. Even the few interactions that Jeanette and Kate had in 93, Jeanette almost kind of seemed like, not only was she shy around her, but almost like she was in love with her. Like, even when they were in the mall and they first met, she was just a little weird. Like, the way she would look at her, the way she would talk about her, how she kept her scrunchie, a little obsessive. So yeah, Jamie's just one of those guys that's very wishy-washy. He's not shit. Don't really care about him though. So the next person is Mallory Higgins. Mallory was my least favorite person on this show. And actually, we end up finding out, spoiler alert, that she had a lot more to do with the story than she made out to. She was initially a Kate hater for literally no reason. We never get a logical explanation why she hates Kate so much.
The last thing in the world that the town needed was another Kate Wallace.
Really?
So I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna find out that Kate did something awful to this girl, you know. No, Mallory was just a hating ass, weird ass bitch. She was just weird. She was a hater. Which to me, I felt like that arc was really flat. I would have liked to see somewhat more of a plot with that whole thing, because it's like she really genuinely hated her for just being her. But anyways, Mallory does have a little more to do with the situation. We find out that actually Mallory was the one to see Kate and actually not Jeanette. Spoiler alert. Mallory becomes best friends with Kate in 95 after, like, once the lawsuit ensues with Jeanette and everything. After everything she says, she's like ride or die with Kate, which was all really weird to us. And we end up seeing that her and Kate are most likely gonna have a thing. They like each other. And the very last episode is them kissing. So Kate essentially, I guess, ends up forgiving her. Next, we get to Vince. Vince is really cool. He's probably my favorite character on the show. Unproblematic, does this thing. He also has a boyfriend or a lover who is actually Jamie's best friend. But, you know, he's cool. Vince doesn't, you know, he had his own side plot, and I think season 2 we'll see a lot more of his storyline, because a lot of people like him. A lot of viewers liked Vince as a character, and I'd second that. And then, of course, we have the father, Jeanette's dad, Greg Turner, and Jeanette's mom. I don't know her name. But Jeanette's mom actually ends up leaving them, the family, the father, because of this whole situation, because she feels like Jeanette is guilty of something and she kind of can't handle it. Her mom was right, but it was a little weird how she just easily was able to walk out, and I still feel like I want more answers with that whole situation. Jeanette's dad is really the one who kind of sticks beside her the entire time, which, you know, makes sense. He genuinely believes that his daughter didn't do anything, but he did find out that, you know, the key that Jeanette had that goes to the principal's house. Overall, he was like the only person who was consistently by her side besides Jeanette's brother. And then the last person we're going to talk about is Martin Harris, who is the vice principal, the new assistant principal at school. And this is the kidnapper. This is the psychotic, disgusting, gross groomer, kidnapper on the show. And this is the person that abducts Kate. And this is the perfect topic to get into the twist of the show. Kate Wallace gets into a fight with her mom on her birthday because Kate reveals to her stepfather that her mother has been cheating, and that sends a huge blow up. So actually, Kate had hung out with Martin Harris previously in his car. She might have went into his house. I don't remember. But she had, you know, they definitely kind of had a little bit of a thing. He was definitely like trying to weasel his way in there. He had like this weird connection, obsession with her. It was weird, but he still tried to play nice guy, good guy for a long time. He tried. And it was really a mystery this whole time, this kidnapping thing. Right out the gate, the show did not make it clear the situation, but it definitely took an interesting twist. So she goes over, she shows up on Martin Harris's doorstep that night when her parents, you know, she runs away. Her mom thinks she's just going to run to her friend's house, but she goes to Martin Harris's house. And essentially, we find out that Kate went there under her own will, which she's still a minor. So that's the part that gets tricky, because you cannot put the onus on her fully because she's not an adult. But that was a shocking element to it because she willingly went to Martin Harris's house. She stops going to school. I think she might have, you know, they do like a day count up. So they'll be like, okay, day 2, she was there. Day 100, day 80, day 170 something. And I just remember watching like, what the hell? Like, she was there for a long time under her will. Because at a certain point, her parents reported her missing. And that's when Martin Harris was very adamant about like, you can't leave the house. You can't do this. And Kate started to be like, depressed. But I would say for like the first like few months, she seemed to be happy. She was playing like housewife, which was really odd because she's literally a kid, but it was not what Kate was making it out to be to the public. So she was fabricating, which Kate has been chatting with a mystery person online who she believed had been a kidnap victim. And actually, Jeanette's brother got a hold of some of the messages where Kate was actually saying, like, what if they found out that I lied?
I need answers.
That I have not been 100% truthful, which ends up being used in court as evidence against Kate in favor of Jeanette's side. But there was this lingering thing with us that we know Kate's hiding something. And she was definitely hiding the fact that she had been there multiple times, and actually, initially, he did not kidnap her. It started to get really weird, and Kate did start picking up, like, something's not right about this picture. So then, it gets completely out of control one night when Kate decides, you know what, I just want to go outside. So at night, Kate goes out the house, and she actually goes back home, but she doesn't go inside. She doesn't make her presence known, but she stands outside the window. I swear Kate Wallace literally comes up to the window when her parents are laughing for 2 seconds. And then Kate cries, run away, and she feels like, well, they don't need me. They're fine without me. Girl, if you would have came 2 seconds later, they literally started crying. So she really had a chance to leave. Like, she could have left and came home. But she decided to go back. She thought she snuck away when Martin was asleep. But lo and behold, he was low-key awake the entire time. He just decided to be slick and bring it up the next day, which was Christmas. So on Christmas is where everything goes haywire. Before I get to this, we have to bring Jeanette into the situation one more time, because Jeanette was being a weirdo again. She's weird. She saw Martin Harris at the mall. Jeanette was like, oh, okay, he's not at home, so I got the key, let me go in the house. So she goes in the house. So Kate is at home in the house, she's chilling, and she hears, like, a key at the door. So she's like freaking out. She's like, who the heck is this? And she goes and she hides. And Jeanette Turner is the one who's sneaking and creeping in the house. So Jeanette walks around for a little bit. She takes a snow globe because she's a thief and she's weird. And she hears a creak, which is Kate taking a step. So Jeanette kind of freaks out and she leaves the house quickly. However, Kate was able to see that it was Jeanette because Jeanette's necklace dropped on the floor. To me, I was like, wait a minute, was that supposed to be their interaction? And I was like, wait, that can't be the moment that they saw each other. But this is what happens. Jeanette leaves and gets on her bike. Kate turns off the lights and she sees somebody looking back at her on the bike. But Kate assumes that it has to be Jeanette because Jeanette was literally in the house. Like, she saw her in the house. But we end up finding out later when Jeanette and Kate talk and hash everything out so that they don't have to settle in court. She finds out. Jeanette's like, you didn't see me that night. That's Mallory's bike. So essentially, Kate realizes that Jeanette had left, and Jeanette literally did not ever see that it was Kate, as so we know at the time, but it was really Mallory that saw Kate, because Mallory was biking by the house and saw Jeanette's bike and was like, Jeanette's been going back to the house. Mallory was actually the one that saw Kate in the window, and she biked off and did not do anything. Essentially what ends up happening is Martin Harris, once he finds out that she snuck out the night before, they're sitting down eating Christmas dinner, chatting, whatever, trying to play it cool. And Kate thinks, oh, he doesn't know. But Martin Harris is like, I know. I know what you did. I know what you did. I know you left. But he's like, where did you go? And she said, I went home, but I didn't actually go inside. And he flips because at this point, he knows she's a missing person. He knows that if she's found, he will be facing charges. He will be looked at as a kidnapper because she's a minor, she's been there, and it's gonna look bad, essentially. I mean, he's the assistant principal, she's a student at the school that he's, he works at. So he goes haywire and he gets very violent, and she ends up saying, you know what, I want to leave. I want to leave now. But it's too late. She says, where's my suitcase? Where are my clothes? I need to leave. Which she should have just left. If I were her, like, the belongings don't matter. Like, just leave. I promise. She has money. Like, you can replace all of that stuff easy. But she begs for the suitcase and he says, it's in the basement. And guess what? Kate does. She goes to the basement, and guess what he does? He locks her in the basement. And that's where the kidnap hostage element comes into the story, where Martin Harris actually does kidnap her. She wasn't allowed to be upstairs. She wasn't allowed to be in the bedroom. She was confined to the basement. And that's where the truth there is some truth in Kate's story. Like, she literally was locked in the basement. Yeah, that's kind of like the story of what ended up happening on Kate's end. And eventually Kate ends up being found. The police come, and this is another twist. We're told by the news that there was a standoff with Martin Harris and he was killed by police. But the real tea is that Kate Wallace shot Martin Harris. So y'all remember when they brought up that weak ass Annabelle thing, and then they revisited it? They didn't revisit it until like 3 episodes later. Well, Annabelle ended up being a gun. Not a person, not another identity, not another persona, but it ended up being a gun that belonged to Martin Harris's father. It was the gun that his own father killed himself with. Ooh, can I say this on YouTube? Martin acts like he's in this space where he's like, I'm such a horrible person. There's no way out of this. I just need to end it myself. And so he's about to do it, but he doesn't. Because Kate honestly thought when he brought up that he was going to kill her, but he doesn't. But she ends up shooting him. And for some reason, I'm not fully sure. I think the show started to stop paying attention to close details, because how is it that on the news they were able to make this story that this was a shootout when all evidence, like forensics, would point to the fact that he was probably shot at by her? But again, she was also lying about her story. She was fabricating her story. So I don't know where that falls either. And as far as Jeanette goes, so Jeanette maintains her innocence. She's like, I have not done anything. And she does. I do believe she comes clean that to the cops that, like, I did have a key, but she lies and says she only went to the house once, which we know her weird behind was going there at least 3-4 times. Now, mind you, Jeanette did not actually see Kate, as so we thought. They go to court and tables start to flip. Jeanette has the evidence against Kate with the chat. Actually, Kate and Jeanette end up talking it out, and that's how they get the truth. And, you know, Jeanette actually doesn't end up suing the family. They both move on, and they think, you know, everything's cool. This is the dun-dun-dun moment of the show. So I was thinking, okay, the show's done. I was a little bit disappointed with the ending. I felt like it started to get slow and a little bit dragged out towards the end. But the last scene of the show shows in 94. This is when Jeanette was like popular. So this is when she had the straight hair, didn't have the braces anymore. And she goes into Martin Harris's house. And I guess she's just creeping around like the weirdo that she is. And she walks by the basement and she hears Kate like screaming, like, somebody help me, like. And so Jeanette at first acts like she's gonna like open the door, but Jeanette stops and she just smiles, like she does this creepy smirk, like, and then cut scene. So we find out that Jeanette, there was a point where she knew that Kate Wallace was locked in that basement. Now, Kate doesn't know this, but essentially there was truth to both sides, because Jeanette technically didn't lie. Jeanette did not see Kate, but she heard Kate. But the question this whole season was, Jeanette, did you see Kate? So of course Jeanette's not going to admit to like being in his house and hearing. But also Kate was kind of right subconsciously, because Jeanette actually did know that she was there. Kate just does not know this yet, which I'm sure we'll get to in season 2. But to me, that scene solidified that Jeanette is a monster. And that solidified it for me, because now we know that Jeanette at some point did know, but Jeanette kept carrying on, living her life, taking Kate's place, which makes everything really eerie, because she kept saying to Jamie, like, I don't know anything. She kept saying to everybody, I don't know anything, but she did.
Lie.
That's kind of my take on some of the biggest plot twists and the storyline. A few things that I liked about the show was, like I said in the beginning, I liked the mystery. I liked the story. I liked how they made it clear that she had been found again. I liked how they didn't make her die. I think that was a different twist, and I liked how they played between the different years. It added more of a mysterious context, and it was different than other shows I've seen before. One thing I also appreciated was the way that they handled the sensitive subject matter. I think it was very important that they didn't show anything that was explicit, because we're still dealing with a minor and an adult. And I don't really like how people are so comfortable with showing those ideas on TV so explicitly. But I will say this much, some things that I wasn't thrilled about was the pacing of the show once we probably hit halfway through. I felt like they were dragging their feet. I think, like I said, they talked about the Annabelle thing, and then they didn't revisit that topic until like 2-3 episodes later, when that was a cliffhanger. So it was kind of getting a little bit annoying and frustrating to keep up with, because it felt like they were just stringing us along, essentially. I know when it was like coming to the last episode, I was like, how are they going to wrap all this up in one episode? I would have liked to see more of the court case. I felt like it was kind of a big waste of time, because in the end, Jeanette and Kate ended up talking it out themselves. So I just didn't like the whole anticipation built up in the courtroom to then just be like, you know, them just kind of cut it. And I just felt like, then what was the point? I thought it was going to be more so like a court drama in a way. And I don't know. I wanted to see their story be deconstructed in court versus just like a little meetup chat. So overall, though, I think the show was pretty good. I'm really excited for season 2. It was something different. And I think it's going to be something that people are going to be raving about. I think it might be like the new teen mystery on the block. And I really like it. So overall, that was my thoughts on Cruel Summer. I would give the series like a 7.5 out of 10. I would have given it like a 9 out of 10 if it didn't start to slow down towards the middle of the season. But overall, a really good storyline. Like, comment down below, what did you guys think of the characters, the show, and what do you think was the biggest plot twist for you? And please hit that subscribe button down below. I will see you guys in my next video, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.